Hello and welcome to Just Pauses. You must have heard of Mullah Nasruddin, right? Though I don't know if he ever lived in Bukhara for real or if he is a fictional character found in the folklores, but I do like his wit and humor and his take on people and situations. Once Mullah Nasruddin and his donkey were traveling for days. When they reached a town, they stopped at a tea shop. Mullah was very hungry and he wanted to eat some snacks and drink tea, but he did not have enough money for that. He spotted a stranger in the tea shop. The stranger was dressed in expensive clothes and shoes. Mullah went to him and struck up a conversation. At one point, he asked the stranger, "So, how is your business going on?" "Great," the stranger replied. "Then, can I borrow some money from you?" asked Mullah. "No, I do not know you well enough to lend you money," said the stranger. "Well, that is strange. When I used to live in my old town, people did not lend me money because they knew me. And now that I'm here, people won't lend me money because they do not know me," said Mullah, and he walked away. The stranger, on hearing this, burst into laughter. Yes, quite a predicament it is, isn't it? If we are true, honest, and quite frank and tell everyone what is our true opinion of them, or we give honest replies to people, no one likes us. Children, for instance, they are so without any pretense. However, as they grow up, their experiences and our rebukes teach them to wear a mask and go about living life. They too look around and see that after all, people too are not what they seem to be. They are like icebergs, one can see just the 10% of their real selves. But then, putting up an act can be quite a strain and affects our overall health eventually. Strong relationships don't blossom, and one day we are unable to recognize ourselves too. So, what to do? A little moderation seems to be one viable key. If we want to live carefree, stress free, being honest and transparent will help. We will have fewer relationships, but no worries. Even otherwise, ultimately, only a handful remain for all of us as we grow older. So, why live with the burden of a mask? Why put up a facade and go on, go about living life? At the same time, before we die, we need people around us, and therefore, a little pretending will be needed, but just a modest little. And when we find people around us pretending to be who they aren't, we must accept them too without pronouncing harsh judgments. Putting up and then living with a mask is never easy for anyone. There is this story of a writer which remains etched on my mind ever since I saw a movie based on her life. She is that one writer who has brought billions of smiles across the faces of children all over the world. There may not be many kids out there in the world whose early years have not been touched by her sparkling and endearing words. Millions have enjoyed her stories. Her books have been translated into so many languages and sold worldwide. And some of the series, like the famous five, are still selling over 500,000 copies annually. Yes, you guessed it right. I refer to the great Enidblyton. Born in 1897 and died in 1968, Enid Blyton remains one of the best selling children's authors worldwide, and her books continue to be enjoyed by generations. She is known for, of course, The Secret Seven, The Famous Five, and Mallory Towers. I myself grew up reading almost all of her works, and Mallory Towers being my all time favorite. I used to wonder that if she could love and understand children such a lot, then how fortunate must be her own kids. That is, till I saw the movie made on her life, which shocked me. It left me in utter disbelief for quite some time. The movie revealed how her own life involved a significant degree of pretense, particularly in how she presented her personal life and family relationships. While her books depicted a world of happy families and carefree adventures, her actual family life was far more complex and strained. She carefully crafted a public image of being a warm and an innocent person while hiding betrayals, lies, and the demands that she placed on herself and others. It seems she was not the cheerful and wholesome person that her writings reflected. Blyton's biographers describe her variously as being spiteful, selfish, and given to tantrums. Most certainly, her professed love of children was not echoed in the treatment of her daughters. The way she charmed her readers, she did not have the same effect on her own daughters. One of her two daughters described her mother as arrogant, insecure, and pretentious. It took me a while, but I was able to accept her with the flaws she apparently had. I have not stopped reading her or gifting her books to all the young readers around me. Never in any of my lectures to children or while narrating stories to them do I let the image of Enidblyton be scarred in their minds. I also learnt later that she fabricated aspects of her own childhood, possibly to cope with her parents' difficult marriage and her father's perceived abandonment. I guess we all wear masks, but in some cases it becomes difficult to remove them without removing some of our own skin. How difficult it must have been for her to pretend to be that charming, loving, and vivacious Enid Blyton herself. Even now, I take a pause and sometimes wonder. Thank you.